Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is April 10th, 2024, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, this time it's gold pushing to its all-time record highs. But first, looking at today's major economic events, so we start out the day at 2:30 South African time from the United States, a CPI, core price index number coming out. Now at 3:45 South African time as well, coming out of Canada. Bank of Canada has a rate statement that's an interest rate decision. And lastly, at 8 p.m. tonight from the United States, FOMC meeting minutes, that's a follow-up meeting regarding the last interest rate decision. Now looking at the markets, mostly unchanged. That includes Forex, that includes the indices. Now looking at gold on its highs, while oil tapering lower. Now looking at the stocks, this is where it gets kind of interesting. Google pushing higher to new highs, while we're seeing Tesla actually rebounding after its settlement. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin retreats. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. Starting out with the Euro USD, we're going to see things unfold as the economic events start trickling in. Right now, the euro doing nothing, okay? Absolutely nothing, just trading sideways. We're at that middle range, so it's really hard to decipher which way it's going to go. Now, let's jump into the Canadian dollar, because today it's got some major news coming out. It's also trading in that middle range. And if we look at a weekly, okay, this is where it's at. You could see that it's really bowing from these two areas, and we're not just smack in the middle on a daily, we're smack in the middle on a weekly, and that's a much harder trade to pick on either side. So we could go either way, and you could see the divergence between the moving averages also just flatlining here. So keep that in mind, all right? So this may just pop in either direction today, so it may give us that opportunity to trade that volatility. But until that happens, it's really unchanged. If we look at the Japanese yen, let's just jump straight into it. It's still dormant at that resistance-ish area, hasn't really moved away from it. Now jumping into commodities, look at gold. Gold trading all-time records highs 2354. Yesterday it hit 2363 as it inches higher. Okay, really very, very strong, as you can see here. Nothing really to say about it, okay? It can find itself a certain footing and then retrace, or it can go higher at this stage. I wouldn't necessarily chase it up here, okay? I call it chasing it because it's that, that broad, how much further it could go. But just be careful with it. If you do have some investment in it already, you might want to unload here. This is going to be a beginning trade, okay? You don't want to take all of it off at the same time, but you want to unload it in pieces. Now looking at crude oil, we did retreat just mildly to $85 a barrel, $85.50, okay? We're just using that 8-day moving average as support, so keep that in mind as well. Now looking at the US markets, Dow Jones unchanged, okay? We bounced from our low, but really we're unchanged. We're off 1,000 points of our all-time highs. It does look like it's making a double top. However, we won't only see that in retrospect after the company's coming out with their quarterly earning reports, and that's going to happen in the next week or so. Now, looking at the NASDAQ, same story, unchanged. Now, I'm going to jump into Google because it did push to new highs. Look at that. A big gap up and new highs at 158. Okay, these things trickle up. They don't all happen at one time. And then all of a sudden you see it and you're like, wait a second, where was I? Okay. Looking at CISCO also gaining nicely. Okay, this is something that's on my radar as well. If you look at the other major stocks, Microsoft didn't really do much. It's still unchanged. Facebook off of its highs just lightly. Okay, remember this came back from $89. So a big comeback for Facebook. Now looking at Tesla, it broke out of that lull that we were in. Now we're still in that range, okay, between 163-ish level and 176. On the upper range, maybe 180-ish level. Okay, so if it doesn't clear it, it's going to continue trading with this range, despite the fact that it came to a settlement regarding its autonomous driving, some of the accidents that it's had recently. So with that said, this may turn up, okay, and may push up higher, okay, if this continues. So keep that in mind as well. What I don't like and what's concerning me is NVIDIA. Look at this, okay? Now, NVIDIA is the AI pioneer, okay? We're at supportish level right here, okay? 850 is supportish level, obviously only about 100 points from its all-time record highs. Yes, it's done phenomenal over the past year and a half, but This is disconcerting. Meaning, yes, can it go back to $100 a stock? No. But it could retrace to $500. It could retrace to $400. Who knows? Okay, so with that said, from day to day, I'm just watching this right now. It's on support, so it's on my radar to see if it's going to be breaking down. It may pull the rest of the market down as well, but that's yet to be seen. Now, JP Morgan on close to its highs, really within $5 range, okay, between 195 and 200, not breaking up above it. The other day we had Jamie Dimon, who's the CEO of JP Morgan, talking about the current events, everything together, the political sphere, the economic sphere, the demographic sphere around the world. You know, he took everything into it. And there's some concerns, okay? They're cautiously optimistic at JP Morgan, and rightfully so. Now, lastly, let's take a look at Bitcoin. It retreated down to 69,200. It's still trading within that range, okay? 72,000, 71,500 is its resistance. 68, I would say, is supportish level. Those are the two ranges. It's going to continue doing that until it breaks either direction. Again, this is something that's a action play, so you want to treat it as such. All right, so lots of news coming out today. This may be the beginning of the winding of the storm, so to speak, and, you know, new activity coming into the market again. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.